Hey Case, what's your job here?
Job here?
Yeah.
Pick up all the poles.
This is what you do?
Cleaning up.
Oh, you do a good job. Quitting up here. Having a climb, you can see he's just cut a few off clearing the roof here. And he's just going to go and do finish cuts on these branches now. All worked out really well. Folded a lot of them down so they didn't hit the roof here, hit the gutter. And now he's going to do some finish cuts. He's got 2 points of attachment. All legitimate climbing. Yeah, he's doing quite well, Quentin. He's only had a few climbs so far. He's killing it. Just won a fight on the weekend. Gonna get the green and gold boxes next time. Tree workers representing in the boxing community. Okay, a bit loud. So just having a, So just having a look at this Corymbia maculata. This is a Corymbia maculata. It's good solid wood. It's meant to be some of the best timber you can get that is resistant to a lot of rot and a lot of pests. It's one of the best untreated woods you can get. I think it's the highest rated here in Australia. And it's a beautiful tree. So I'm just walking around these trees here behind me, just trying to find some faults. I'm also trying to get out of the chipping that's happening down there because I'm a bit lazy. I'm also a bit broken. So the heavy lifting does destroy my back. The reason I am a trainer and only working part-time, I did my back quite badly a few years ago. There was 5 years of intense pain through a herniated disc and a bulging disc. And for a hard worker, it's very hard to lay on the couch when you're working for yourself and have no income. So I took a job doing this and that, and I ended up training, which is good. And now I'm just looking after myself. So after 5 years of pain, I went to a physio and I said, look, fuse it, do something. I'm over it, I'm over the pain. And he basically was a very lovely bloke. He was Ethiopian, and he didn't actually work on my back, this physio, for the whole session. He just told me stories and anecdotes and all these things that made me think. By the end of it, I realized he was just telling me stories that meant that I was weak, and it was all in my head in a very polite, professional way. And surprisingly, the next day I woke up and decided to not be in pain. 90% of my pain in my entire body, not related to my back, just disappeared. From that day on, the pain just disappeared. I can still feel it, I know there's pain there, but I'm just not worried about it now. So it's incredible, the power of the mind, how it tells you you're in pain when you're really not. So anyway, we'll get back to trees. So I'm just walking along here looking for some faults to talk about because I'm trying to get out of chipping down there. So this one here I noticed, it's a Corymbia maculata, a spotted gum. Used to be a eucalypt, it's not now, it's a Corymbia. It's a beautiful tree. Like I said before, it's the best hardwood and whatnot. So I've just been looking for some faults along here, and there's a lot of them, deadwood, whatnot. Up here in particular, I know you can't really see it, I'll try and point it out. Somewhere up around there. There's a union, I'll try and zoom in or put a line on it when I'm editing. There's a union up there that has what's called elephant ears, and it's wide at the sides, which means there's a fault. So I saw that and it made me think there must be a fault up there somewhere. So I walked around here, and I understand it's probably hard to see, but I'll try and put some infographics up on the screen or something. I can actually see there's a huge crack in that union with weeping out both sides. So it's an inferior union that would mean that I would climb the tree differently. I wouldn't rig off it. And yeah, I'd just be more careful. So you can see up here, this flat surface here means that they probably weren't properly joined together. You can see these bits out here, there and there, we call elephant ears. What that is the tree's natural reaction to try and control a union. A union might have some movement in it, or it might have a crack in it, and it will grow these elephant ears at the side. So you can see here on a smaller scale, you've got this lump on this side, and there's not much of a lump on the other side, but essentially that's a type of elephant ear because the tree's reacting around either a fault or a union that's not great. Sometimes, a lot of the time, they seal up and they control it, they self-optimize, and they're okay. But of course, you can see up here, it's got some pretty steep elephant ears on each side, and that was not a very good union. You can see the very, very top of it, there's a shiny bit of black stuff. So that's what we call included bark. So included bark means that when you've got two leaders or branches together, they will have bark in between here. And this is a dicot, okay? And again, I'm only a Cert 3 tree worker, so I'm not an advanced academic diploma. So when I talk about things like this, I'm talking from a Cert 3 level, which is just a basic arborist. The dicots, and I say dicot because I don't know the longer word, I forget it. Dicots and monocots, we can talk about that later. But the dicots put on what's called secondary growth. They put on girth in the lateral meristem. So underneath the bark here, which we'll cut it open and have a look at it, there's something called a cambium layer, which is essentially like the veins of the tree, transporting nutrients up and photosynthesizing and sugars and stuff down. So it's just under the bark here. If you knock the bark off, it kind of weeps clear. That's a cambium layer, and that's what we'll put on girth or diameter every growing season. Okay, that creates your growth rings. Okay, so when you've got a codominant stem or a union, much the same as, we can look at this one here. When you've got bark in there and it's putting on growth every year, this way and this way, they essentially will naturally try and push each other apart. So included bark is bad for your ropes getting caught and everything, but it's also not generally good for the tree's own health because they'll just keep pushing apart and eventually fail. Ways you can tell if they are moving rapidly, pushing apart or failing, is a gap in the canopy between the two stems. So there's a big clear gap in the canopy where the tree hasn't had an opportunity to grow its leaves into that sun and light, then it probably means they're pushing apart pretty quickly. See all this in between? This would have been between the two stems. This is all fungus between the two. So it wasn't actually connected here at all. You can see this is the included bark. This stuff would have been pushing out. And this is the reaction growth. Here, it's trying to react around this hollow bit here. So elephant ears indicate stress of the tree reacting around something. Perfect example of why codominant stems are generally not a good feature in a tree. All right, all that chipping done? Good.